Welcome to DuPont Registry Talks, a new podcast from the home of driving luxury since 1985.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of DuPont Registry Talks. I'm your host Charles Bradley, and today I'm joined by another eminent guest from our wonderful world of luxury lifestyle. And today I'm delighted to say I'm joined again by Gabriel Vega Cortez. He's DuPont Registry's automotive content manager, and also the chap who gets to drive all those really cool, exotic and luxury cars. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
To start off with, Gabe, as an automotive editor in a luxury space, tell me what the Rolls-Royce brand means to you.
I think that what Rolls really, because that as a brand, they've had so many eras. If you think about what we know now is Rolls-Royce under BMW ownership, that has shifted a lot of what it is, what a Rolls-Royce is. If you look at, a lot of the pre-war cars, there's a lot of coach building involved. And, we think of today of cars as being ultra customizable, but, back then you can get not just a custom interior, but a custom body. And it could just be this ultimate, physical representation of your taste and your imagination. And I think what the brand is doing today is kind of trying to get as close to that as possible within the confines of regulations, safety systems, and so on and so forth. And I think they're kind of, a lot of brands I feel like will say, we can do anything. We can do anything. And it's usually when you kind of dig a little deeper, the anything is, well, we can make that bit of leather any color you want, or we can paint that whatever you want. Mm-hmm. But I've seen now projects from Rolls-Royce's Bespoke division, which they do all the custom work, all the custom requests. And I saw this wooden dashboard panel where one customer came to them and said, I just want the ocean on my dashboard. Okay. Can you make that happen for me? And so the team at Bespoke, they're all like craftspeople, and they specialize in this. And they devoted, I can't remember exactly, it was over 6 months on this one trim piece. And I think it was like 95 grand for this one bit, because what they do is they create the concept, they do the first sort of iterations of it, and then it has to be perfect. Yeah. Every little, the execution has to be perfect. And I think that what Rolls-Royce does now that no other brand really does is when they say we'll do anything, is they're going to try to do anything. They'll honor any request.
Even the ocean.
Even the ocean, yeah, something like that. So I think that's what Rolls-Royce really stands for now. It's like a lot of brands will give you custom stuff, but they're really committed to that idea.
The Rolls-Royce Phantom, obviously a timeless icon. What makes it so special in your eyes?
So if you drive the entire Rolls-Royce range, if you get into a Ghost, a Cullinan, or a Phantom, the step up in terms of refinement, we're talking about a 1% to 2% increase. Yeah. Because the cars are already so well isolated, so comfortable. But it's that last little bit, that creates like a whole different vibe. Yeah. Like the Phantom is just, nothing rides like a Phantom, nothing drives like a Phantom, nothing is as quiet as a Phantom. I'd argue that even the Spectre being electric still doesn't there's something really special about the way a Phantom drives. Mm-hmm. There's also the status thing where you can say, well, I don't just have a Rolls-Royce, I have the Rolls-Royce. Mm-hmm. And now the Phantom, the Phantom 8 was introduced in 2017, so it's kind of towards the tail end of its life, and we've seen all the custom editions, and we're seeing. I was at the launch of the Phantom 8 Series 2, so when they did a couple of very subtle tweaks, but most of it was to increase that car's customization potential. Basically, they wanted to change things so they could then go to their customers and say, all right, anything you want, anything you want. I feel like they're also kind of rare. I don't see them that often. Yep. Phantoms. Yeah. You'll see, especially living in Los Angeles, you'll see all kinds of Cullinans or, dime a dozen. Yeah. But a Phantom is still kind of an event. Yeah. Like you see a Phantom and it's just like that little bit taller. It's just a little more squared off, and it just has a presence to it that even the other because the prices of all the Rolls Royces are just, they've increased substantially over the years. A Phantom with options, you're looking at minimum like 650 around there, whereas a option Ghost is probably like 550. And so you don't see them quite as often. They're a little bit older, but I think because they're a little more rare, they have like that. They still have a bit of an impact. It's like you don't see a Phantom every day.
Yeah.
And especially when you get like, if you're at a red light and a Phantom comes up next to you and you see just how high that shoulder line is on the door, it looks kind of like an SUV, but it's obviously not. It's a big sedan. It's just this giant thing. And so it's just cool. It's just one of those things where, yeah.
How about that cachet though? We saw, the Queen, the Beatles, Elvis, Liberace, you name it. Everything was in that video, wasn't it? The best car in the world. I mean, it's got to be up there just because of the people who've not really driven it, but I guess have been
associated with it.
Yeah, chauffeured around.
Yeah. I think that, when we talked about Car of the Year awards and that sort of thing, one of the little asterisk I said at the very beginning was that to rank on this list, it's not, how do these cars stack up against each other, because we're talking about luxury car versus sports car versus hypercar. So like they're in just different categories, but it was about, is this car the best at what it tries to do?
Yeah.
And I think as far as ultra luxury cars go, the Phantom is just, it's the standard. It's there's nothing that you can point to, at least that I can point to, that say, that does it better than a Phantom. Obviously you can point to and say, well, this does something similar for less. You could spend, half the cost and get something similar. But again, it's that last little 2%. That's what the Phantom is about. It's that last little, that's otherwise locked, unless you're so committed to the ultra luxury thing that, then you reach that special level. So yeah, I mean, I think that as far as ultra luxury cars go, the Phantom is undefeated. And especially, obviously we don't know when the Phantom 9 will come out, but presumably it will get some of the tech updates that were introduced for Spectre, and then they were carried over into Cullinan and Ghost. And a Phantom with those updates, because that's the limiting factor with the Phantom right now, is that the interior is just a little looking like, obviously the car was introduced in 2017. But with those updates, I think it's just gonna really keep that top spot.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that was a pre-COVID car as well, and just like the world's kind of changed and moved on.
Totally different. Yeah.
Speaking of that longevity, obviously not many models can say they've been around for 100 years. How is this centenary celebration going to impact, do you think, its collectability and the market value of these cars must be going to rocket, I would have thought.
Interesting. I mean, so I read that the Phantom is the longest running model, like in the automotive space.
And
I mean, 100. I mean, obviously it's not a perfect 100 years, but it's been around for 100 years, and it used to be called. It's funny. The Phantom 1, before it was ever known as the Phantom 1, was called the New Phantom.
Oh, really?
So if you look up New Phantom, you're gonna get a car.
What was the old Phantom?
Yeah, exactly. It was it's funny. It was under a different name. Yeah. So the real first Phantom was never a Phantom. And so yeah, I mean, we're starting to see the prices of some of the really special Phantom 7s. A lot of because unlike the Phantom 8, which is just a sedan. The Phantom 7 came in a drop head coupe. You had a coupe. You had all these different body styles, and I think some of those are starting to be seen as collectible, because if you think of especially the drop head coupes, when they have the wooden panel on the rear deck, that is something you basically can't get that anywhere else. And those cars dropped for a little while, and then they, became more accessible. And then I think now all the nice ones are getting scooped up. I was honestly very surprised that there was no variations of the Phantom 8. There was never a drop head coupe or a coupe or anything like that. Although that would also probably push it into the sevens price wise. So maybe there just isn't a market for that kind of thing, but who knows?
Well, we have seen limited edition versions of the car recently, so expand a little bit on them. And do you think we're going to get any more with obviously with the centenary being such a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of those special editions as kind of, if the Phantom is already I don't just have a Rolls-Royce, I have the Rolls-Royce. Well, these special editions, I see them as, well, I have the special edition of the Rolls-Royce. So it's like getting into further corners of like exclusivity. And some of what they'll do in these builds, because it's all, surrounds bespoke. It's all, what does this owner's creativity, what can they come up with? What can they and like the bespoke team conceptualize and kind of put together in a car? And it's awesome to see the level of craftsmanship. All of these builds are 7-figure cars. Like we're talking about something totally different. I've actually at Car Week last year, Rolls-Royce hosted a media dinner, and they brought 2 of the special editions. We couldn't sit in them. We couldn't even like get really that close to them, but they were kind of there so you could see them. And once you start kind of like looking through, especially if you spent a lot of time in the Series 2 Phantom, once you look at those special editions, you start looking at all the little details. You see how many things they changed. Like they'll add like a little bit of sparkle here in a place where you kind of can't see it, but it's like as soon as you catch it, you realize, oh, like they were working on this and that. It's not just like, obviously the last decade or so has proved that special editions can be very profitable, and supercar brands specifically love doing those. And on the Rolls-Royce side, it's not just this thing has an exclusive paint color and it has like a couple little things, boom, it's special. Like this is like a complete like reworking of all the materials, and it's like, again, to what I was saying earlier, I don't think there's any other brand that does that.
Yeah, the craftsmanship level is off the charts, isn't it, really? Yeah. Obviously, as the world moves on, we're certainly heading into an age of electrification at the moment. How do you think Phantom will remain relevant and even probably lead that sort of ultra luxury segment as time progresses?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like on the one side, there's obviously brands at a lower price point that are, kind of full steam ahead on electrification. But on the, as soon as you cross the 7-figure mark, we're seeing a complete different trend. If you look at the Bugatti, the Tourbillon, like that is naturally aspirated V16. The Gordon Murray, the T50, naturally aspirated. It's like,
what a noise.
Yeah. I mean that is still probably the best sounding car I've ever been in. It's just insane. But if you think of Pagani, they're going to carry on that V12 as much as they can, and I think that because the Phantom is so low volume, that I think you can start to group it in that category of like, you can go electric, and I personally believe that the Spectre, like the idea of an electric Rolls-Royce is it's pretty ideal. I mean, as long as you're not trying to cover like huge distances, it's pretty ideal because it goes with the Rolls-Royce like ethos. But the Phantom being a flagship and kind of that V12 being central to the BMW era cars, I think that'll probably keep going. They'll probably try to keep that going as much as they can. And also like that V12 is so refined that the step from that V12 to a Spectre that is actually silent is not a huge jump. It's like, again, we're talking in like little percentages. But yeah, I think it'll carry on for sure.
Just to jump off the Phantom topic for a minute, I know you drove the Black Badge Spectre quite recently. What was it like to drive an electric Mercedes that's got a sort of sporty edge to it?
So the Rolls, the Black Badge is kind of crazy in that they launched it at a racetrack.
Yeah.
Which is super fun.
What?
Like,
This is Rolls-Royce. We're talking about here.
I do like, I will say, just to like get on a small tangent, but like I really miss when brands used to do launches that were a little bit just like this car's a little bit outside of its element, but they lead to a better story and they're just kind of more interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, they launched it in Spain, and so we drove through Barcelona, and then the second half of the event was at a racetrack, but it was raining. So it was not just a racetrack, it was a wet racetrack.
Even more fun.
Yeah. and this track had like insane elevation changes. And it's funny, you're basically, it's basically carved out of the side of a mountain. And so what they did was they had us going where all the twists are. We ran the circuit backwards. So all the technical stuff was on the way up rather than on the way down.
Yeah.
Because those brakes aren't meant to really slow down a 6,000 pound car on a racetrack, a couple laps, But it was kind of interesting because a lot of it is just software. Like, there's not a lot of hardware changes to the black badge. Most of it is just to try to make it feel just 5% more sporty. That's what it is. And it has Rolls-Royce's version of a launch control. It makes a little bit more power. The range is about the same, but it drops down a little bit when you're like using max power, or you're really like getting on it. It's not going to go quite as far. But obviously it's still a Rolls-Royce. So it's still like super comfortable, super like, it just has like, for example, like the front end turn-in just a little bit sharper. Yeah. Like, it's just a little bit quicker. Yeah. It's just 5% more reactive. But in a car that's so laid back, that 5% has a pretty good impact. I think also the black badge is important because the Spectre, like the reception around the Spectre has been kind of mixed at best. I feel like I've talked to some owners that were kind of iffy about, like, that ordered one, but they were kind of iffy about taking delivery because, it was actually like, we had this conversation about driving between Los Angeles and Vegas, because his thing was, well, I can take my Phantom at 150 miles an hour between LA and Vegas. I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. I don't even have to stop for gas. It has a huge tank. Yeah. So he's like, but the Spectre can't do that. No. And that's actually why I did the run between Vegas and LA. It was actually because of that conversation. And I did the Vegas to LA in a Spectre on a single charge, but it was cutting it close. Like, we made it with like 6%. Oh wow! So it's like, I think what the black badge will do is introduce something else, kind of more interesting, more cool into the Spectre range, and kind of like, get the excitement going for that car. Because all the black badge cars are cool. They have all like the dark trim and everything, and it's funny, the Series 1 black badge Ghost had carbon fiber barrels on the wheels. And it was like the craziest thing, because you just walk up to this Rolls-Royce, it's just all black on black and whatever. You look at the wheel and you just see carbon, and it's exposed carbon. Yeah. And it was just, I think that the new one doesn't have it. I'm assuming there must have been a conversation at some point where someone said, oh, all right, maybe not. Maybe
this was a step too far. And
also they're like, the carbon fiber barrels are a little more delicate. So if you hit like that's what happened with the Shelbys, the GT500s. They had like the carbon wheels, they crack. Yeah. And so maybe they're like, maybe not in a super heavy, so the new one has normal wheels, but it has something kind of interesting. And Rolls-Royce on the inside, the black badge has their Rolls-Royce's take on carbon fiber. So what they do is they have their own weave, and they weave in like crystals in it, so it sparkles.
Oh wow!
And it's like, because if you just put like a regular carbon fiber weave, it's like, what?
It's
why?
Matte, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the way they do it, it's like this, like kind of, it looks like jewelry. It's like this sparkly kind of. That's cool.
Very nice. And you think the brand is trying to attract that kind of younger, next gen, ultra high net worth individual? I think that's why it's doing this, or is it still got a focus on legacy clientele as well?
I think it's both. Okay. I think they have to serve both, and I think the whole point of the black badge was the way they market it is like they were noticing that they were getting younger and younger buyers, and younger buyers preferred that sort of like darker aesthetic, and so they kind of leaned into it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the black badge cars are becoming like some of the most sold. So it's not just this younger audience that likes it. Even some of like the more legacy kind of customers also enjoy it too. Yeah. I think it just differentiates from the sort of chromy, very like, kind of old school kind of feel to like the older Rollses, where this is like, okay, it's modern luxury. It's kind of a, but yeah, it's good that they still offer both.
Yeah.
But not on the Phantom.
Uh-huh.
The Phantom is just like you can get dark trim on the Phantom, but it's not called Black Badge Phantom.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is I'm sure there's a reason. Someone inside said we can't change the Phantom. The Phantom has to just be the Phantom.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get back on the Phantom topic. Phantom 100 celebrations. What are we expecting to see at Pebble Beach, Villa d'Este?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about the last couple years, like all the special Phantoms that they've unveiled when it's not the anniversary, on just like a quote normal year, I can only imagine what they've got coming down the pipeline. And I've heard some things, but like
Swan secrecy.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be like a car week situation. I mean, there'll be a lot. I think there'll be a lot coming, especially like with more special editions. I think also one of the things I saw, I think it must have been 2 car weeks ago, when they had the boat tail, I believe it was called. If it's not the boat tail, it's part of like that tail series where they made 4 of them. Because so one of the things that the guys at Bespoke mentioned was that they're just getting more and more requests to make these one-off cars.
Yeah.
And so like the process to make one of those one-off cars, because they have different bodies, it takes like, from what I heard, it was like 2 years to complete. And that car was like a $28 million car. That estimated $28 million car, right? But I think that they're getting more and more of these ultra like bespoke requests.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this like Phantom special editions and these bespoke requests are kind of like almost going to meet in the middle, where we're going to see, I think more and more elaborate Phantoms, more and more like, because also I think that what's happening is the bespoke department is learning as they make more of these, what they can do. And because if you think about the Starlight roof was just a customer request. Yeah. Like that's how it started. And then they realized that like, not only was there a lot of interest in it, but over time they could really streamline that process. And so now, if you're selling a Rolls-Royce pre-owned and it doesn't have the roof, it's a huge value hit. Like it's become like, synonymous with the brand.
Cool. Let's just put you on the spot a little bit, talking about the Bespoke guys. If you could spec your own Phantom 100, let's call it, what would it include? What color, what materials would you like to see on it? And maybe any historical references? Thinking back to that video with all the cool cats who used to have them right across.
Yeah. I'm going to change brands for a second. I feel like my reference would be, I like a lot of the like 80s and 70s Mercedes, where they were doing like very monochromatic. Like for example, if the exterior was green, the interior would be all green leather too. Like sort of like a dark green, something kind of classy. Yeah. I would go like that. I would do something monochromatic in a cool but like tasteful color, maybe like a dark like plum kind of color outside and inside, and just cover everything in leather. Like it's a lot of like luxury cars today, I feel like have, you can spec carbon fiber trim if you want, or you can do whatever. I really like wood and leather. Like I would want something like that where we can combine this kind of like old school kind of approach, but with like in a modern, kind of setting. Because if it's a luxury car, just like cover it in leather and throw some nice wood in it, like maybe a little bit of like bright work just to like create a bit of contrast. But other than that, like I love like luxury cars in monochromatic builds. So something like that probably.
That sounds like a really cool addition. And that's a really cool way to end the show. Thank you, Gabe, for joining me today. You can read all about his road tests on dupontregistry.com. Thank you at home for joining us today. We'll see you next time on DuPont Registry Talks. And remember, drive safely.